just played that from memory. I have not played that in a while. That's my excuse. This is just a quickie today. I went and found an ad on Facebook for trombone for sale, like I usually do. And I spotted a horn that looked interesting because it had a Conn counterweight with a reverse tuning slide. And that means, in Conn parlance, some kind of professional instrument, perchance. And the rest of the instrument just had the pro look to it. It was not a director model Conn. I don't care about those. What use would I have for it? So I was like, ooh, that could be a Conn 6H. I've owned 3 of those now, and they're good horns. And it was for a price where it was like, yeah, that's well worth checking out. So I rush over there, and the guy's like, oh yeah, I have 3 trombones. You have to buy all 3 of them. And it's, still a pretty good price. Here's all 3 horns. And so I checked out what I thought was a 6H. And of course, it's not a 6H. This is a Conn Century 76H. What is that, you might ask? Well, I don't blame you because I don't think anybody knows what these are. This is an Abilene, or just post-Elkhart instrument. Conn moved from Elkhart, Indiana to Abilene, Texas in 1971 or 1970, I can't remember which, to get cheaper labor and kind of start things over in a new place. The quality of the instruments really dipped at the time. They got rid of a bunch of designs that they were using in Elkhart. They just kind of started from scratch. And some of them were like this. This is a 522, so medium bore, but like a little bit smaller than 525 instrument. It's got a narrow slide, nickel crook. A nickel crook's also a good indicator of a pro horn, thankfully. It's got these unequal length cork barrels, just because, I don't know, it saves a little bit of material. It's cheaper, I guess. It does have nickel oversleeves, equal length on both sides, and they're crazy long. Like, it's hard to tell in this light, but yeah, the oversleeves are each 6 inches long. Again, very strange. It's got this just kind of whatever neck pipe, This tuning slide, if it's not exactly the same as a 6H, it's very close. Well, pretty narrow throat bell, like a 6H would be. And then an 8.5-inch bell out of nowhere. Boom! Surprise! Large bell. I think the consensus is this is kind of like perfect for a high school marching band kind of instrument. I think it was more of an intermediate model, upper intermediate model that was aimed kind of towards that high school marching band feel. It's a little bit larger, but it's not huge, it's not heavy. It's got a bigger bell for a little more projection. What a strange instrument. I just cannot figure out what this is for. I find it to play pretty well. It's not amazing, it's not blowing me away, but it's a pretty solid instrument. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'll probably try to sell it, and maybe someone will buy it for $350 or something. Honestly, the genuine Conn counterweight is probably worth as much as the rest of the instrument combined. I did have to have the slide worked on, and it is fine now. It makes a lot of noise, but it moves. It was also missing the slide lock part on the slide, and it had just come unsoldered at some point, and that was just replaced for me. And there's a couple dings in the bell and stuff, but weirdly good shape. It feels like somebody used this for 1 or 2 years in a band and then put it away. This is not a typical school instrument where it just got beat on for decades and it's just completely trashed. No, this is actually in pretty good shape. And I got, of course, 2 more horns as well. The more boring of the 2 is a Blessing Scholastic. Yep, it's just a student horn. And it's actually pretty good. I'm kind of blown away. I think I'm just at the playing level now where I play something and I'm like, oh, that's not too bad. Kind of without realizing yeah, there's some player making up for the deficiencies in the instrument. I did find the intonation to be a little weird. The F in the staff wants to sit just a little low, which is strange. But the D is fine. So it's not quite German intonation. And this one, again, is there's no lube on this slide, but it's actually great. There's one ding down here, and that was it. And tuning slide's got a couple like falling on things, spots. This seems like someone used it for like 1 year of middle school and then put it away. Which again, this is probably like the best shape Blessing Scholastic that exists. I don't get it. Where do these horns come from? Do people have them sitting around in closets or something? Anyway, that one's kind of boring. The more interesting of the bunch, oh, here it is this. Look at this tiny little bell. This is 7 inches across. By far my smallest trombone bell. This is the Olds. This is pre-modeled names and numbers for Olds. This is from 1937. And it has 2 different serial numbers. The slide and bell actually don't match up, but I'm sure they were all very similar. And I think the slide's from just like a little bit later than the bell was. It's got bell tuning with a reverse tuning slide, which is cool. Some of these are slide tuning, and they're just ridiculously front heavy. Like, they could not be more front heavy because there's like no braces back here and this huge slide tuning mechanism, and they're just like 5 pounds in front of you. Narrow slide. Like, it's hard to get this across on camera, but I am not a very large person, and this is almost uncomfortable to play. Like, it just barely fits at the side of my face. And of course it's friction fit. There's no lock nut and no slide lock. So it's a whole lot of nothing. Very cool and hard to see on camera is that this has the duo octagonal slide. So instead of these just being round tubes, there's 16 different sides to them until you get to the stockings, which are just round. And this slide is really good. There's just like nothing wrong with it. It is a little bit long. Well, that's why we have locking us now. But it can rip if you play it loud. It's pretty cool, actually. I'm using it with I'm not using it, but I'm playing it with my Bach 11C that has a shaved down shank for some reason. The shank on these Olds trombones is just a tiny bit smaller than modern stuff. So for instance, this absolutely wrong choice mouthpiece that also has a small shank sticks out way too far and wobbles. So would not be extremely useful. Thankfully, this 11C maybe was shaved down for one of these, and it fits almost just right. This one, I'm not sure. I don't think anyone would really want to buy this. You don't really use these horns unless you play some like Dixieland stuff, but even then, you can just play something modern. I think this might make a cool decoration. I don't see myself using it, but I also don't want to ruin it, so I might just hang it up and look at it. This engraving is really, really, really cool. I dig that a lot. And for the price of all 3, I'll probably make up almost all of it by selling the student horn and perhaps the 76H. So yeah, go look out for just random instruments on Facebook and Craigslist, because every once in a while you find kind of cool stuff. That's it. I'm going to go back to practicing. Bye-bye.